Has this happened to your skis? Let's see if this is actually repairable. I'm going to use the good ski to make a mold in order to patch the broken ski. In order to do that, I'm going to line up both skis to locate the area of the break to match the location for the mold. Let's clean up the fracture site by removing the broken fiberglass top sheet and level the foam core to provide a stable bed for the repair. I'm using a Dremel tool with a rotary saw bit. Use a straight edge to make sure that the foam core is level. We need to remove just a little more. That's a lot better now. Clean up by vacuuming the dust. And now we're ready to fill the fracture site with some automotive body filler. Mix it with hardener according to the manufacturer's instructions. Fill the fracture site and smooth the filler to make it level with the surrounding ski surface. So now that the body filler has cured, it's time to sand it down and level it. I'm using a Dremel tool with a rotary saw bit. Sand with medium grit paper on a flat sanding block. Clean up by vacuuming the dust. Check for a level patch. A second application will likely be needed. We just need a little bit more filler in there. I use a steel scraper coated with petroleum jelly to flatten and level the surface of the body filler patch. Clamp it and press down. Wait for the filler to cure and then remove the scraper. It does a pretty good job of flattening the patch and reduces the need for sanding the body filler. Sand with medium grit paper on a flat sanding block. Wrap some sandpaper around a flat file and finish the sidewalls. Clean up by vacuuming the dust. Now that the patch has been leveled, we're ready to apply the fiberglass reinforcement to ensure a solid repair. This is my good ski. I'm going to use it to build a mold to form the fiberglass patch that I'm going to put over the broken ski. This duct tape happens to be the same thickness as the fiberglass cloth, so I'm going to use it as a spacer. The mold needs to extend beyond the area of the fracture to ensure a secure repair. I have tripled the surface of the patch and mold. The mold will be made out of body filler reinforced with a layer of fiberglass matting. I'm going to slather this with petroleum jelly to act as a mold release so that the body filler doesn't stick. I'm generous with my mold release. Anywhere that might make contact with the body filler needs to be covered in this, otherwise I won't be able to get the body filler off. This is my good ski, so I don't want it to be covered in body filler when I'm finished. Mix the body filler and hardener according to the manufacturer's instructions. Generously apply the filler to the taped area of the good ski. Make sure it conforms to the surfaces and sidewalls of the ski. Allow the filler to set and then apply a final layer of filler embedded with fiberglass matting to reinforce the mold. Let the mold cure overnight. Carefully remove the mold. Some of the body filler has seeped under the base and needs to be removed. Carefully sand the excess filler from the mold. Clean the mold and vacuum the dust. Cut 2 pieces of fiberglass cloth to the dimensions of the mold. I had to remove the board from underneath the skis in order to provide room to drape the fiberglass patch over the break in the ski. So what I've done is I've reinforced the inside of the ski so that it will support the weight of the clamp. We're going to have to dry fit the fiberglass to make sure that it actually fits inside the mold. Remember, I estimated the thickness of the fiberglass by using pieces of duct tape. Let's see if that worked. So here's the first sheet of fiberglass, and this is the next sheet of glass fiber and the mold. And let's see if it fits. It just fits. Wow. And it's nice and snug. So I think we're in business. We should be able to go to the next step and apply the fiberglass patch to the break in the skis. So the next step is to prepare the surfaces. The surface of the ski needs to be made rough in order to adhere properly to the fiberglass patch. The mold, on the other hand, needs to be made slippery so that it doesn't stick to the fiberglass. So first off, let's sand the surfaces. I'm going to use a medium grit paper because all I'm trying to do is roughen the surface in order to provide adhesion for the fiberglass and the resin. The next step is to put petroleum jelly on the surfaces that we don't want to stick to the fiberglass and resin. So I'm going to generously apply this petroleum jelly to the inside of the mold. I'm also going to apply some petroleum jelly to the underside of the ski to make sure nothing sticks. Be careful not to get any on the top surfaces of the ski because that will undermine the patch. Mix the polyester resin according to the manufacturer's instructions. In this case, 2 fluid ounces or 60 milliliters with 20 drops of hardener. Brush the area of the patch with a coating of resin. Apply the first layer of fiberglass cloth and saturate it with resin. Apply the second layer of fiberglass cloth and saturate it with resin also. Make sure the cloth is positioned to cover the area of the patch. Carefully place the mold. And let's hold the mold in place with a clamp in order to press down on the fiberglass and make sure that it shapes and bonds properly to the patch on the ski. We've given the resin 24 hours to cure, and now we're ready to pull off the mold and see what's underneath. Now I'm going to try to gently pull off the mold, and hopefully it'll come off without too much trouble. It's pretty tight. I can feel it just... Ah, there we go. And what's underneath? Hopefully what we have here is a properly cured patch on our broken ski. Now we have a little bit of an air gap in here. Just a little gap in the resin. We could probably add a little bit of resin to fill that in or sand it flat. There's excess resin on the whole surface anyways. So now the next step is to trim all this excess material from the bottom edges of the ski and pull off the splint and see if it's going to hold. I'm going to take off the clamps and remove the splint from the bottom. Hopefully the ski is now able to support its own weight at least. And we're ready to trim the excess material from the edge of the ski. I'm going to use a steel guide to prevent me from gouging the bases on the skis. Set that against the area that I'm going to trim. I'm going to hold it in place with this little clamp. complete the trimming process by sanding the edges of the skis flat with some medium grit sandpaper. Remove the excess resin and stray fiberglass strands with a gentle sanding. We're ready to put a cosmetic layer of polyester resin on the surface of the skis. I've sanded the surface and I've slathered the base with petroleum jelly. Brush on a final coat of polyester resin to finish the patch. Let it cure overnight. Not bad, but does it work? So stay tuned to find out if they actually work. In the meantime, go out there and have a great ski. It works. It's holding.